If you're currently separated, stop sending long text messages, stop begging for that big talk about the relationship. If you keep chasing a massive breakthrough right now, you're going to push your partner into survival mode and make this separation permanent. In today's video, I want to talk about the exact biological reason your partner is shutting you out. I want to talk about breaking away from the multi-threading strategy that most people fall for so that you can lower the pressure and rebuild the emotional environment in order to repair your relationship. So if you're going through a separation right now, maybe you're going through a breakup or maybe even divorce is on the table, it's important to make sure that you change your strategy before you push away your partner for good. So the first thing you need to do is look at the exact instinct that is driving your partner further away from you right now, wanting to have a separation, wanting to have space away from you. You know, oftentimes a separation happens when there's been talk about breaking up, talk about the struggles in the relationship. And often there's this urge to solve the entire separation in a single conversation. And this is where so many people make the mistake during separation, is to try to have conversation about every single issue in the relationship all at once. This is multi-threading. So this is talking about the many, many different threads of the relationship all at once, and it becomes massively overwhelming. So something that's spoken about in psychology is cognitive load theory. So this is basically your partner's brain having a really strict biological limit on stress. This is normal, right? At a certain point of stress, our brain just kind of shuts off. So partners don't often ask for separation because they suddenly stopped caring about you. They often ask for separation because the system has suffered a catastrophic data overload. Basically, the brain has become overwhelmed with cognitive load from years of unresolved tension. So when you're trying to have conversations about the relationship, to fix things, to jump in with solutions, oftentimes this becomes bombing them with emotional appeals to come home. And in doing this, you end up triggering the exact same overload that they're trying to escape from. And this forces them to shut down. So during this separation time, it's important to stop sending multi-paragraph text messages, long letters. I've done videos on this, which I'll link to above and in the description down below. Stop basically asking for this big talk about the relationship. If you are on a call or interacting and you feel your partner pulling away, be the one to lower the pressure. So if you feel the stress and the overwhelm building, be the one to step in and say something along the lines of, hey, I know there's a lot between us and I don't want to overwhelm you. I don't want to add more pressure or emotional stuff on you. So what do you think about pausing here? Feel free to take all the space that you need. The reason why this is important is that when you respect your partner's biological bottleneck, instead of chasing them, you're immediately signaling that you are safe, that you are the partner that can shift away from being the source of the stress to the one person that actually understands the capacity for stress. And this means that it takes away your partner's need to defend themselves against you. So what happens if you push past that bottleneck? Well, when you push past, your partner's brain shifts into a survival state. This is called emotional flooding. And this emotional flooding is where reconciliation, repairing the relationship, becomes almost physically impossible. So if you push past this bottleneck and you overload your partner, what happens is there's a total shutdown of their logic and their empathy. So when your partner is emotionally flooded, basically the prefrontal cortex of the brain goes completely offline. This is where your partner's brain will operate almost entirely out of the fight or flight system. In this state, they literally cannot process your apologies, see your good intentions. They just feel a emotional threat that they need to escape. So it's important to make sure that you're looking for the physical and the verbal audio signs that your partner is maxed out emotionally. Maybe it's a clenched jaw, maybe it's a flat tone, maybe it's absolute silence. The moment that you see it or you feel it, it's important to not argue, to not push back, to not try to persuade your way through it. And definitely don't double down. You could say something along the lines of, I think actually right now this is maybe kind of heavy and I don't want to drain you. How about maybe we step back for today and have a moment to be able to just pause and finish this conversation another time. And then make sure you follow through. So make sure that you're not jumping into this conversation anytime soon. Give a day, 2 days, however long it needs, of not approaching that conversation. The reason why is that you can't logic a partner out of a state of survival. Pushing through a flooded state only creates more emotional discourse, and this cements their decision to stay away, to want to separate. The more you proactively step back when things become overwhelming, this allows their central nervous system to calm down, which is the only state when they can actually begin to process the relationship, start to feel changes within the relationship, and actually imagine a path forward. So this brings me on to the strategy of single threading. So in order to get your partner to open the door to talking again, you have to completely change what you're asking your partner to talk about. So here is where this idea of multi-threading falls apart. So multi-threading, for those of you who don't know, is kind of a computer terminology where it means that lots of threads of information is being passed back and forth at once. It is really useful to multitask for a computer, but when it comes to human brains, multi-threading is actually our downfall, especially when it comes to trying to repair a relationship. Oftentimes, people try to jump in to try to fix everything at once. Well, I need to fix this, I need to fix this, we need to talk about this, we need to address this. If your partner has asked for separation, when you're separated, oftentimes you want to fix the marriage. You want to fix the relationship. The problem is that the relationship is too massive and too terrifying for your partner to face right now. It feels so overwhelming to think about all of the smaller symptoms of the relationship and how to even possibly start fixing them. It feels completely hopeless. If every interaction with you is some sort of referendum on your entire future together, then your partner is always going to choose the safety of distance every single time. So it's important to shift away from multi-threading to single threading. Stop talking about the future and isolate one single hyper-specific low-stakes topic. Maybe scheduling a drop-off time for the kids or handling a utility bill or something like that. Make sure that you keep the conversation strictly bound to that one thread. If your partner brings up an emotional conversation, don't get defensive. Say, you know, I can understand how you're feeling about this and I want to own my part in it, but how about let's talk about this one small piece today so it's off your plate. The reason why this is important is because narrowing the scope of the conversation stops conversations from becoming this big cluster of all of these multiple issues, and it creates focus for you to start building this emotional environment brick by brick. And this is why learning how to validate and learning how to lead that conversation is really important. Now, I can't jump into all of that in a YouTube video, but to be clear, learning how to validate your partner's emotions during this time is going to allow them to realize that an interaction with you is not going to turn into a trial about the entire relationship. And this allows your partner's guard to drop. So isolating one single thread and being able to validate deeply on it is going to show your partner that each thread of conversation, whenever it's raised, is going to be very focused, it's going to be very calm, and it's not going to spike their anxiety, and it's not going to cause them to pull away. And this is exactly what I work on with members, is being able to develop those skills so that conversations are connective rather than divisive. If your partner starts feeling safe communicating with you, then it's because the stakes are low and it's a lot easier to follow through on that conversation without any risk of things going off topic and becoming emotionally overwhelming. And if you want to potentially work with me on that, then join my relationship bootcamp. This is where all of my members start learning about the emotional environment, how to be able to fix it and how to repair it in order to lead the relationship forward for the future. I always leave a link in the description if you want to grab your spot with me. But once you start mastering this single threading, you can start using smaller interactions to completely rewrite your partner's expectations of who you are. Oftentimes, there's this paralysis of aiming too high. A lot of people think that when it comes to relationship repair, that unless they agree to go to marriage counseling or unless they agree to move back in, then somehow you're failing the repair of the relationship. This high stakes expectation ends up paralyzing both of you, and it keeps your partner on the defensive. So it's important to focus entirely on engineering lots and lots and lots of micro wins. So your only goal right now is to have baby steps. One brief, pleasant, completely drama-free interaction about a topic that's important, but focusing bit by bit on building back the 3 core environments that are crucial to relationships. There's the emotional environment, there's the logical environment, and there's the synergistic environment. So being able to raise an important conversation in a drama-free way, great. Being able to handle a logistical task perfectly, great. Being able to drop things off exactly when you said you would, great. All of these things are micro wins along the way. Make sure that you're following through on all of these in small ways, in many, many, many small ways, day in, day out. This is slowly going to rebuild back the environment, and especially during separation, when your partner's nervous system is heightened. Doing this allows them to feel confident in the potential trajectory of the relationship. These tiny victories are essentially a proof of concept for your partner's feelings. Each drama-free interaction triggers a micro hit of dopamine in both your brain and your partner's brain. This slowly replaces your partner's old memories of conflict with new experiences of consistency. I've actually done a deeper dive video on consistency and how this boring process is going to be crucial to saving your relationship, but not only that, growing it to a very, very high standard. By doing this and being consistent, rather than having some grand gesture that's going to change everything, you end up proving that you've changed enough through your actions rather than just promises. And this ultimately allows to turn these small wins into permanent reconciliation. So like I said, I won't dig into it here. I'll leave you with that deep dive video, and I'll see you over there.